WCBPodcast, your source for all things Chicago Blackhawks and everything hockey. With your host, Jarom and Tanner. Let's do it. Jarom and Tanner.
All right, it's another edition of the WCB podcast. It's Jarom, it's Tanner. What's up, bud?
It's a lot of changes.
What's funny is we pushed back recording from our usual Tuesday night to Thursday night because we wanted to wait for the Four Nations roster to come out, and we didn't want that to be old news.
Yeah.
Well, thank God we waited, because the new news would have been old news by the next time we recorded. If you've been living under a rock for the last, 4 hours or so, the Chicago Blackhawks have announced that they have relieved coach Luke Richardson of his duties, effective immediately. And it ends what seemed like a very optimistic union.
Yeah, I guess
just
so.
kind of fell flat.
Yeah, I mean, he was brought in and had a tough job of, coaching a rebuilding team, and pretty much from day one was just trying to make them like a pain in the ass to play against.
Which
and,
did.
Yeah, and they did that pretty well, the first two seasons. And, this season, now that they have more talent, they were still kind of playing that way. You can tell by the way that the offense just wasn't scoring, even though they have much better scoring additions to the offense. It's just what's happening?
I mean, there's a lot of different takes you can go here, and I think we got to kind of just break it down situation by situation, because I mean, you can look at the positives of him and just being the right guy, wrong time. You can look at the negatives of maybe the inexperience of not being a head coach.
The line blunder.
And that's a big thing. But real quick, so after the loss against Boston on Wednesday, he finishes 10 years, 57, 118, and 15 in 90 games. Interesting timeline, though, that this comes almost just a little over a month after friend of the show Ben Pope had a conversation with Kyle Davidson about Coach Richardson's job status, and Kyle Davidson told Ben that calls for Richardson's jobs are just ridiculous, and that he still had confidence in him and his duties. Well, not even like I said, just a little bit of a month later, he's fired. An interesting stat about that Ben pointed out too was since he made that point, since KD made that statement to him, the Blackhawks had went from 19th in expected goal rates in the league to last in the NHL.
Yeah.
So offense just completely dipped off, and I think you hit point one with the line shuffling is a big culprit for that.
Yeah, I mean, last year, once you found the little bit of chemistry between Kurashev and Bedard, they were together, and Foligno was on that line for the most part too. And I guess at a certain point this year, you kind of just look back and go maybe that was out of necessity, because there was nothing else you could really do with all the injuries and all the young guys that were playing. So it's all right. So he had to play Kurashev and Foligno with Bedard basically out of necessity, because he had no other choice with all the young guys and inexperience and everything. But now he's got too many choices, and so he doesn't know what to do with it. And instead of letting it ride for more than a game or two, he just kind of it works one game, so it goes again the next game. And then it didn't work, so then he's got to change it now. And it's that's not necessary. It's completely unnecessary.
And it wasn't
just put it into EA NHL and just see, oh, maybe if I do this, and just stick with that for a little bit. That would have been fine, but
yeah,
what the fuck is going on, dude?
Yeah, and that's my biggest frustration with him, and we talked about this in the past few weeks about it, is that you just the leash was so goddamn short that it's like they do something good one shift, the next shift it doesn't work out as well. Then it's like, okay, new combo, here we go. It's like you have a team that is supposed to be better than what the team was last year. You have the talent. Granted, when we say they're supposed to be better, we don't mean, oh, they're going to the playoffs. We mean they're, instead of finishing 31st, they should be finishing between 25 and 26, maybe 27.
Yeah.
But it's like these guys, it's a fresh team playing with each other essentially, and it's like you gotta give that time to build chemistry. And like he just never, he tinkered way too much. And for me, that was kind of getting concerning, because like if it came down to this team getting ready for, to play for playoff hockey or compete, all that kind of stuff, and he's going to do these tinkering, it's how is that going to affect on the stretch? Like you're coming down where you're maybe like a point out or something, or 2 points back, and you're struggling for something, and then it's like all of a sudden you're going to throw what's been working away just because you're stressing out, about like it hitting a bit of a wall. Like it's like questions like that. It's just, I think that's the inexperience in him that kind of caught up to him.
Yeah, I think the craziest thing is like with the line blender is the top 3 lines consistently got changed, and over the last month or so, the 4th line is the only one that didn't get touched. And it's like,
and which has been the most consistent line or players for this team over the last like month.
Yeah, it's just so so weird, because like typically like you'll have like your set lineup, and then you have your like, oh shit, like time to clamp it down, fucking 6-on-5, like get all the offense out there kind of line. But like his most consistent line is his 4th line, and then every other line is like a toss up, and it's just so it like just, we talk about all the time. It's just the chemistry, the inability to do it. And I'm sure at this point in the season, players are just like, what the fuck are we in for today? Like, who am I playing with today? Like, it's just, what the fuck, man?
I mean, you see the frustration on the faces of all the guys, and they are being fed from the top management, from the coaches, and then which means the players are trying to buy into it and feed into the fans that things have to be different. We can't settle for moral victories. Like we have got to take that step. And then when things consistently react and continue to happen the same way, it's like you got to make the move. And it's like one of the big questions was his handling of Bedard. I mean, we keep talking about how, you got to let him relax. Like you got to relax on him. He's still leading the team. He's 19 years old. He's top 3 points per game percentage or whatever amongst 19-year-old, teenagers in the last like 10 years or something like that. Like the stat was, no, maybe longer, but it's like, still, it's like you see the frustration he has, and you kind of have to wonder if there was any damage done by the way Luke Richardson handled his hand, like how he handled using Bedard, yo-yoing him from center to wing, putting him with a million different players combinations. You're putting third line guys on him, despite it working out, biting us in the face with.
Yeah, I mean, even just yo-yoing the fucking power play. Like the power play started season like super well, and then dipped a little bit, and then it's all of a sudden Teravainen's not on the first line, and you have like Ryan Donato instead, and just like, I understand Donato's hot, but like maybe just get the second line out there for a little bit longer if like power play 1 isn't working. Like there's ways of getting around like having to swap the line so much, is just maybe give the other lines a little bit more time if they're working out well. Like I feel like, am I going crazy?
The point, especially with this type of season and this type of team where you're not playing for playoff contention. You're playing to get your team to the next step, to get the experience, to be ready for when it does come time to do playoff hockey. So why is it was it so hard for him to not just say, you know what, our 5 best guys, let them go out there on the power play PP1, let them build the chemistry, let them work, and see what happens. If it doesn't work after X amount of games, then you take a look and readjust. But the fact that you would see different PP units within the same game just doesn't make sense.
Do you think it's interesting that like the second line power play is the 4th line plus 2 other guys? I don't know any other NHL teams in the league that does their 4th line is their second power play.
But that 4th line is how many of the goals are they responsible for over the last month?
No, I know. I think it's very interesting.
It's crazy that he had more trust in that line than he did with like Bedard, Taylor Hall, Teravainen, Bertuzzi, Kurashev.
The thing too is that like maybe that line, it just works well with his style of coaching offensively, and like the other players, that are a little bit more offensive and a little bit more skill, like don't really work as well on the dump and chase.
Yeah. Dude, the dump and chase and the throwback when or the drop back entry for the power play, when you have skilled guys, fast guys who can take the puck in and set it up, is the most goddamn frustrating thing. I know that's not a Luke Richardson thing. That's been a thing for the past few years, but it's just
the drop back entry works really well with Bedard taking it up the ice because he has good vision and like always brings it right to the blue line basically and dishes it to the side, and then he just gets deep, and then that's how they rotate. But for when he has the puck in like 5-on-5, that line doing dump and chase is fucking stupid. Like just have him take it into the zone and like get it deep if he needs to. But like I guarantee he can just skate past everybody. Like just let him fucking do it.
Yeah,
it's just so dumb. I'll tell you what though, he doesn't get enough credit for Alex Vlasic playing as well as he has and being as good as he is, and Wyatt Kaiser becoming a more solid defenseman. He's done well with the defense, the young defenseman. And the team has looked better defensively. I mean, it sucks because I feel like at least once or twice a week there's goals that are going off our defensemen, just like in the Columbus game. No, Toronto. Maybe both. But the Toronto game, Tavares just spun around and puts it towards the front of the net, goes off of Vlasic's stick and goes like right over Mrazek's shoulder or Soderblom's shoulder.
Fucking sick tip.
Yeah, I know, right? But it's like that's the kind of shit that's been happening to the Hawks all season. There's been so many goals going off of their defensemen. It's insane. But either way, I still think that he's done a really good job with like the young defensemen. I would say like the goaltending has been good, but that's not him. That's Jimmy Wade. No. We talked about him last week. Dude, I think there was something recently that came out with Mrazek talking about how Jimmy Wade has been like huge for him. So just keep Jimmy.
Yeah, and here's and I'll say this too. I know a lot of people have been saying like calling for changes. Like I've seen people calling for KD to get fired. I've been seeing calls for him to get Luke Richardson to get fired. I'm being called for bringing up Nazar and all this kind of stuff. Luke Richardson is a hell of a fucking coach. It is a different situation than the Jeremy Colleton situation.
Yeah.
Where you have this coach that's like coach in waiting and all this kind of stuff, and you bring him in and he just wasn't ready. Luke Richardson was dealt a very shitty hand and wasn't given the correct pieces to truly take this team to the next level. And even when he was given more pieces, I mean, you have to wonder if the tinkering was caused because he knew maybe his seat was hotter than what it was being publicly stated, like KD saying, "Oh no, he's not. It's ridiculous. He's not going." But do you think like when these losses are piling up and the offense is
Yeah,
going, and
and
it's like
the
he's
offense
trying
is slipping
to
away. Yeah.
he's trying to switch it up because he knows that something's coming.
Yeah, man. Like I feel like if they would have stayed steady with what it was at that point when he made those comments, because like the team was looking good and just like losing some close games, and then they stopped looking good offensively, and they were still keeping it close. And then lately, it's instead of like when I was saying just score two, uh, that kind of went out the window a little bit because
Well, yeah,
losing 6-3, 4-1, 4-2. I mean, they beat Dallas
November
6-2.
Yeah, November 3rd was when the comments were made. After that comment, 1 goal against Detroit, 1 goal against Dallas, 2 goals against Minnesota, one
Yeah,
against Seattle, one against Vancouver, two against Anaheim, 3 against Florida, two against Philly, and then then he comes until last week. So it's like, yeah,
yeah. What's the average goals for in the month of November?
across the league,
No, 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 no. The Blackhawks, because it's pitiful. I
it's bad.
guarantee it.
I mean, it's gonna probably look better because of the Dallas game.
That won't matter. I guarantee it. So they had 13 games played and 31 goals for. Subtract 6 of those goals in a game, it's 25 goals in 12 games. That's just over 2 goals.
Yeah,
That's horrible.
You're not gonna win many hockey games, and the Hawks clearly didn't.
Jesus.
Personally,
This is crazy too. I can't believe that the Hawks actually didn't have the worst points percentage in November. The Canadians had the worst points percentage, and then it was Ottawa.
Ottawa's bad, man.
Yeah, they do. If the Hawks are in Ottawa's position in 2 years, then it's like, okay, Katie, maybe it's time to get
If
out
the
of here.
Hawks are in Ottawa, Detroit, and Buffalo's situation in a few years,
Yeah.
then there's a problem. I don't care that Buffalo is sitting there kind of in that flirting area, but no, if you're still getting close enough, but then all of a sudden you shit the bed and you're falling off,
Well,
yeah, there's an issue.
you can say maybe not this year Buffalo, but any of the last 10 to 15 years Buffalo.
Yeah.
Then yeah.
Yeah, fair.
I still think that Richardson, like the calls for Richardson to be fired, those are fucking asinine and ridiculous because the things that he's building for is not this season. It's not really even next season either. It's the seasons after that.
Exactly. And that's the conversation I've been having, like, especially with another group text I have. And it was driving me crazy because what's that?
I said, what?
It was just like it was driving me crazy because I don't know if they listened to us or not, but if I did, sorry guys, I'm calling you out. They were just talking about how long do you expect this rebuild to go, and like this is ridiculous. Like they're questioning Bedard even being the guy and all this stuff. And it's just people have to remember we're technically only a year and a half into this actual rebuild.
Yeah.
There is so much work that had to be done to fix mistakes from Bowman era, that contracts he gave and giving away draft picks, and you had to build that up. You had to rebuild our prospect pool. Our prospect pool is one of the is the best or one top 2 in the league right now.
And that's all thanks to Luke Richardson.
Luke Richardson and
Kyle
Davidson.
Kyle
Davidson.
Davidson.
Let's say
No. I'm trying to look for like available, like notable head coaches, and everything just keeps showing me Luke Richardson's name, and it's like that's not what I want.
Yeah, but it's like this is something that takes time, and just because of this coach firing, it's not going to change anything for this year. It's going to be the most you can hope for going forward, which I guess we'll talk more detail about it, is just that this team kind of gets to compete to where we think they were going to, and they kind of steal some wins and more than it's expected at this point, and just try to take steps forward instead of just kind of the step back that they've taken so far. When this news dropped, what was your initial reaction? Because I mean, I know I had mine right away. I was like, I personally thought that was the wrong move. It didn't
Yeah.
quite make sense. Like, it's one of those things that, like, okay, I think it's the wrong move, but at the same time, I understand it. It doesn't make sense to me given the circumstances of what this season is
Yeah.
in terms of the future of this club.
It's, it made me think that maybe internally with the players, there's more going on than
Yeah.
just like if like how I was mentioning earlier, like because of the line blender, like if they're coming into the rink every day, just like what fucking line am I on now? Like
Yeah.
just over it. It's like, all right, we got to switch it up.
I thought this move was coming, but I didn't think it was coming until the end of the season. Unless
Yeah,
this
I
team
remember seeing
turn
that on a lot of like people's bitching online was just like they'll just not sign him again. They'll just let him walk. It's like, oh god, okay, sure.
yeah, but it's like it's one of those things, and it's like you said before we started recording, and I agree with you wholeheartedly, is I feel bad for him.
Yeah,
I think he's a great coach, and I think he's gonna have a very successful coaching career. And unlike Carlton, I think he's gonna get an opportunity much sooner. And I think with a more established team, I think he can do better. I think
yeah,
I think more established in terms of that you're not breaking it down to the bones to get to what
right.
he wants this team to do. It's like they have the pieces, so now let's take what they already have and mix in what Luke offers as a coach
I'd be
and try to take that
I'd be interested to see him take on a team that would fit his offensive coaching ability.
physical
Yeah, like
of Philly.
yeah, I was gonna say like an early or like early 2010s, like Anaheim,
Yeah,
like a
with the famous we're gonna, or was that Vancouver that said that we're gonna just gonna check the crap out of the Blackhawks?
I would have assumed that's probably Vancouver.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Get them up in like Calgary or something. They got some big boys, don't they? What's the biggest team? Just get fucking Luke
Yeah.
Richardson there. That's what I was
It,
saying. I hope there's a falling out between Florida and Paul Maurice, and then we can just steal him, or just Jonathan Taves comes out of the woodwork and just on the bench for the Blackhawks. He's got his suit on and he's got a little C still. He's like, he
yeah.
knows where it belongs. It's for coach though.
The first time in the practice or whatever, the first game, he walks right up to Foligno and he rips the C off and just pins
Yeah,
it to his suit jacket.
yeah. And then the
This is
Hawks
my
go
team.
100% from the face off that, and you're like, wow, this guy's got it.
But okay, so realistically now let's talk coaching options here.
Yeah,
Um, I personally, so we talk about. I think this was kind of like before Richardson was hired. We were like, oh, we have all these like the sexy, quote unquote, sexy coach names, like the
quote unquote.
established guys and big names and all that. And the Hawks continue to go towards like, a lesser known, not like, assistant or, prodigy type coach coming up. I think for this next coach, you say fuck it and you go for one of the old dogs. Like, no more playing around. Let's get somebody in here
Who's got some
who's got
pedigree?
who's got some established into his name, that it's not his first rodeo.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes you need that. You need that hard nose, pain in the ass coach.
I'm just trying. Yeah, here we go. Trying Mike Babcock. There we go. Nailed it.
Yeah.
NHL coach register. I'm trying to see if I can find like some current coaches or who hasn't coached. Like Rick Bowness, he's not coaching right
I
now.
thought he retired.
Is that what it was? Okay, fuck.
Yeah.
Dave Hackstall, except for the Seattle players fucking hated him. Lane Lambert, nah. Here we go. Jacques Martin.
Jacques Martin, who the fuck is that?
Jacques Martin. He is, I guarantee he was the coach in Ottawa in last season. Todd McClellan, who's got a winning coaching record, over 1,000 games coached.
I mean, that's the kind of guy like you could see come in to be like
David Quinn.
A quick let's go.
Bruce Boudreau. Daryl Suter.
Yeah,
No.
Mm.
Joel Quenneville. Winningest coach on this list.
You know, even hilarious is if they just like slowly, like, because the Blackhawks announced all like this Winter Classic stuff, that like the plans for the Winter Classic, they reveal like the rendering of what Wrigley Field's gonna look like. They announced the firing, and just between all of that, and we brought back Joel Quenneville. Like it was just like a real quick like blip.
He's just on the bench.
Yeah.
I mean, Derek King's available. I'm surprised they didn't just ask him to do it again.
Yeah, I mean, I am too, but I wonder if it is truly a tryout for that. Was it Anders Sorensen?
Mm-hmm.
First Swedish head coach in NHL history, by the way. Asterisk.
Oh, almost there. I'm just curious, like if any. If there's ever trouble in paradise in Carolina,
Rod the Bod
becomes available. Like, how many coaches in the NHL do you think that, like, if they were to, like, lose their role on their team, like, it's basically the Jim Montgomery situation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he gets fired
no.
and then immediately picked up by the Blackhawks. Like, who?
Paul Maurice.
Yeah.
John Cooper.
Yes, absolutely. Bruce Cassidy?
I think so. I mean, because he went from getting fired in Boston to winning the Stanley Cup in Vegas. Yeah.
What about Andrew Brunette?
See, that's a tough one because he really only has one good year as a head coach under him.
You think?
Yeah, the year he took over for Q.
Yeah, in Florida. Nashville made it to the playoffs last year, didn't they?
Was he the head coach last year?
Yeah.
Well, I think that was the start of this year he got brought in.
I just know he didn't get the job in Florida. He was interim
right, and he was
almost the entire season.
Yeah, and then he was an assistant on New Jersey, and then he went to Nashville.
Yeah, I guess so.
So, yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know if he's one that would get
like Peter DeBoer.
For some reason, he does. I feel like he's hopping around like no other. I feel like he doesn't.
Yeah, he's slowly. It's kind of crazy, right? He got fired from San Jose and immediately got picked up by Vegas, and then played out the season in Vegas, and then went right to Dallas.
Yeah, guys love to play for him.
Yeah. Peter Laviolette. Ooh, I wonder if Peter Laviolette's on the chopping block at all since the Rangers kind of fucking suck.
I forgot he's the Rangers coach.
Yeah, right?
I'm still surprised Jay Woodcroft hasn't been fired anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like he was like I feel like he's a great coach in that he literally had to get, like, that was a move he had to make to wake that team up. Like a Stanley Cup favorite should not be playing that way. Like it was a necessity necessity firing.
Yeah, I mean, the team itself I feel like that team can run on its own because it's literally just McDavid and Draisaitl.
Right. But I mean, with that all being said, though, I mean, they did say that Sorsen is going to be the head coach for the remainder of the season. And they're going
Oh,
to,
really?
yeah, they will
Well,
do
they
their
also said that Luke Richardson was safe. So they say things.
right. And I was I'll say that too with an asterisk. I'll say asterisk with that because if one of these guys that is one that you can't pass up becomes available, I mean, yeah, you got to reevaluate.
Yeah, and then I think it's interesting because like he's the head coach of the AHL team, who I don't actually know. I just been following the players, but like I don't know how well they've been doing as a team.
I think they go through like stretches from what I recall. Yeah, because I'm the same way. I only follow the players because I can give two shits about Rockford winning anything as long as freaking Nazar keeps tearing it up.
Yeah.
Let's see.
They
Currently, they are
in
8, 9,
fourth
and
in their
2.
division.
Yeah,
Yep.
8, 9, and 2, 18 points, 58 goals for, 63 against, which is not a great sign when you're hoping Camesso steps up.
It's
But
so dumb,
I mean,
like that they on their standings they put P10 for past 10 games rather than like last 10 games. It's just I don't know why that bothers me.
the fucking AHL, man.
Let's see. Goals
The
for
AHL.
58. What do they think they are? Trying to show up the Blackhawks.
I got the Pacific Division has 10 teams, and Central North have 7, and then the Atlantic has 8.
Yeah. Also, the Pacific Division doesn't play as many games as the rest of them.
AHL's so stupid.
Well, they do it because of travel.
No, I know. It's so stupid.
It's funny, but like these guys could get called up at any second too. So I understand like limiting the travel kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, so here,
back
yeah.
to
So here,
what were you gonna say?
yeah. So here's my question too about sourcing coming in is like, does that you think he's gonna have a little free range to be like, hey, I want X, Y, and Z up here to get a shot to really pump things up, or do you think KD is gonna still stick with these guys need to just stay in Rockford, play their minutes down there, overdevelop, and be ready to go for next year?
I mean, I think if the opportunity arises, like there's an injury or something, then they'll get the shot. But for the most part, the forward core has been healthy the entire time.
Yeah.
It's just the defense that took a hit, and goaltending. But I mean, Soderblom's been stellar since the beginning of the year.
I wonder if it would be guys like Anthony. Oh no, he's hurt. Never mind.
Yeah,
Forgot about that.
I think it depends on who gets injured, right?
Like
if
Cole Gutman.
Yeah, if it's like a third or fourth line role that you need filled, I'm sure you're not bringing up Frank as like Nazer for that. You if it's like a winger that's like a second line, third line kind of guy, maybe Colton Dock maybe gets a call.
I was gonna say I think Colton Dock is someone that's gonna get a call. I think sooner than later when the opportunity comes up. I think he's played very well, and I think I don't want to say this without sounding like an asshole. Like I don't think there is as importance on him continuing to develop the same way as say Nazar.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's the type of guy that you can bring up, put in that situation.
Yeah, I mean, you might even just bring Slager back up, see what he can do, because he brought a lot of energy when he played the last few games of the year last year.
Right.
Dude,
but yeah,
just bring Levshinov up. Just let him just play raw.
Yeah, goddamn, dude.
I'm curious because, sorry, I keep interrupting, but I'm curious, like, how Richardson could have handled Levshinov's development with how well he did with Vlasic and Kaiser. Like, What if we just actually didn't fire Richardson? We just swapped him. Put him in the AHL.
Blackhawks have called up
Yeah.
Anders.
Yeah. Anders Sorensen, right?
and
Sorensen?
has sent down Coach Luke Richardson.
Yeah.
Got to go through waivers still, and
Oh yeah. Hopefully he doesn't get picked up.
yeah, I don't know. I think I kind of had the feeling that Richardson was never going to get a chance to coach Levshunov and put his touch on him.
Yeah.
Because I still don't think Levshunov makes the team next year.
No. Levshops is unless he like makes huge leaps and bounds in like progression, he's a kid that's gonna be marinating in the AHL for a little bit, and then like when he makes it to the NHL, it's like he's fucking ready. He's ready to go. He's like top 2 ready, top 4 ready.
Like I go back and forth with it too. Like if he should have maybe played one more year at Michigan State.
Yeah, maybe. But I feel like because he's also not from the US, he's from Belarus, and like he probably doesn't hold the NCAA as in high of importance as like some guys do. And it's probably just like, yeah, I'll get paid.
Yeah, I think too. I think too it would have been nice to have him like one more year where we're not losing eligibility from him, or contract status.
The nice thing is like when his contract does come around,
it'll be cheaper. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, his first deal is not going to be like if he's a fucking nasty ass defenseman. His first deal is going to still probably be in the $4 to $5 million range, and then a big boy deal. He'll probably end up with that bridge contract.
Yeah. So, well, this is essentially like the start of a new season now. I mean, it's a fresh start, new coach. I think you're going to see, not right away, you'll still see some of the basic stuff because the teams do like to the Hawks, I know, are one of those teams that like to try to keep consistency from their NHL team and their AHL team in terms of, playing style, strategy, and all that. So I think you'll see a slow transition out of some of the stuff that Luke Richardson hit home. I guess my question for you then is just expectations or what do you hope or want to see this last, 70, was it 75 games or so, or something like that, 70 games? Or no, they played 26, so it's like 60.
68, 66,
yeah.
66 games.
66 games.
I just want to see, I don't know, more offense, really. Like they play so conservative to just lose games. Just like do what Columbus does and just fucking rip it open. Just win 6-5, lose fucking 5-3. Like it's fine. Just let it rip.
You have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
You either win some games or you're gonna be giving yourself great odds for the draft lottery come May. Get nothing to lose.
Have some fun with it. Dude, Columbus is 6-3-1. Just letting it fucking rip, dude. And they're at 84 goals for, 84 goals against. Inbound. Dude, you know why? Because they got Sean Monahan.
Yeah.
The classic 40-40 guy. Like keeps it even.
Nice and even. Oh man. But yeah, I really hope, if anything, this gets Bedard to kind of get him some consistency. I hope he sticks him in one role and keeps it there.
Gets him some consistent line mates.
Yeah, and either nut up and shut up as a center, or you get the fuck out and just put him at wing.
No, and leave him at center.
That's what I'm saying. Like you have to. You have to. The only time you should be yo-yoing him from center to wing is if you're power play or close game. You want to stack a line.
Yep.
And you put your best guys out there. That's the only time he should not be at center.
Absolutely.
And those are times he shouldn't be at center because he shouldn't be. He can't win a draw in those situations. So
The elite prospects trending players, and Anders Sorensen is one of the trending players right now. He played. This is funny. He played in the ECHL at that's his highest level in American hockey, and his last team that he played with was in 2000. It was the Baton Rouge Kingfish.
No shit.
Yeah, buddy. I love seeing Baton Rouge like that. Baton Rouge.
I just always think of the coach from Waterboy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Is he almost naked? No, man, wait a minute. That man, let's see almost naked. I don't
Which
want you
is,
mad at me.
It's my favorite thing is that you say the coach from Waterboy and then you quote Joe Dirt.
Joe Dirt, yeah. It's the same guy.
I know. It's easier to describe him as the coach from Waterboy.
Because he doesn't, because Joe Dirt, it's easy to describe him as the Waterboy coach, but Joe Dirt's got that iconic, that's just an iconic line. Like that whole scene is iconic, where he doesn't really have his most iconic thing in Waterboy, I think, is when at the end of the game in the Bourbon Bowl, Bobby Boucher throws the deep ball and they cut to him and he's got his shirt off and he's playing with his nipple rings. That might be like the most like iconic thing from him.
I'm just looking at Anders Sorensen, his staff stuff that he's got. I didn't realize how long he's actually been with the Blackhawks. So
he was a development.
Yeah, he started his first head coach role was actually with the Chicago Chill, the U18 team, and then he didn't coach for like 4 years, and then coached the Chicago Mission U18 team, and then he went to Sweden for 3 years, came back to the Mission, and was a head coach there on the U16 team, and then became a development coach that same season for the Blackhawks and the IceHawks. And was a development coach and still did the Mission every once in a while. That must have been good.
So that's interesting. He's had Chicago ties for a while.
Yeah. And then he went in 18-19, development coach. And then he was also the assistant coach in Rockford. And then that's where he kind of...
I thought you said 18-19, like the year 18-19. I'm like, what? How fucking... Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, there you go.
It's been a long fucking week, man.
He was the associate head coach in Rockford in 21-22, and then took over as the interim head coach that season, and has been the head coach in Rockford for the last 2.5-ish years.
Was that when Carlton got moved up? Did he take over
21-22? It's possible. I feel like that's a little bit later than.
Or was Derek King?
Derek King was after Carlton.
No, I'm saying, was Derek King the coach in Rockford?
Oh, I don't think so. I thought Derek King was just an assistant coach. Let me look it up. Let me look up Jeremy Carlton real quick. Because what I say was 21-22 is when he. Why won't this work? Okay, it's not going to let me look it up for some reason.
All right, Derek King. Let's see. Coaching. Team staff profile.
Jeremy Carlton.
Oh, yeah, he was that. So he replaced King.
Oh, okay.
King was the head coach in Rockford from 19 to 22. Then when he got interned with Chicago.
And then the Hawks had Colleton in 18-19. Damn, it's funny because on this, just looking at it, with Sorensen, it says like promoted to interim head coach, promoted to this. On Colleton's, it says 2018-19, like Rockford IceHawks AHL head coach, and then it says Chicago Blackhawks NHL head coach replaced Joel Quenneville on November 6th. Oh damn, dude. Oh, no shit. And he was fired on November 6th.
Yeah. It was like November 6th is D-Day, man.
And we're just a month past it. It's funny.
Yeah, almost. Like, it would have been just a month after, almost to the day.
It makes sense to, like, just, we got another day before we got some games coming up, so let them get a practice in. Get a
I
light
still just like
game.
it's just if it like I'm flabbergasted by the timing of it. Like it just seems such a random like. Yeah, I mean, maybe it was like the too many men call yesterday. That was just the final like nail in the coffin, or like like you said, did the player say something? It's just something.
Yeah, the player's sick of
It
it.
just
Like,
it just did not like it just didn't make sense. And like I'm not arguing against it. I'm just like just shocked. Like it's just a weird situation.
I'm curious now too, because they've been doing the Road to the Winter Classic.
Oh,
Is this going to be on there?
are they doing that show? Do they do that show still?
Yeah, they're still doing it.
What's it on?
Oh, dude, you got me. I don't know. I saw something about it though.
I feel like they haven't done that in a while.
No, they're doing it. Road to the Winter Classic returns to TNT on December 13th. Oh wait, that's 2023. A day ago. Okay. Road to the Winter Classic premieres on TNT. It was before the game on Wednesday. Yeah, it's on TNT.
They're already playing it?
Yeah, the first episode was yesterday. It was before the Bruins game.
I fucking wasn't home. I was at fucking golf, so I don't know, man.
I know. I didn't see it. It's just
Oh.
I don't know. Was it after the game? It's there's one on tonight on SN Sportsnet. Yeah, it was on yesterday at 5 p.m. But yeah,
Episode 1 of the 4-point all access.
Yeah. See?
Interesting.
So we'll see how that goes. I wonder if they still have what's the guy that does the voiceover for it?
Oh, the don't tell hockey players that it's just a game voiceover.
Sure. Yeah.
Like that one that's like the most like iconic, dude. It's like chills. He's like, don't get caught telling a hockey player that hockey's just a game. And it's like he goes through the whole speech of everything.
That's fine. I do. Larry, I don't know.
What's interesting? You know what's interesting though too. So both teams will have a head coach firing storyline with the winner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bill, is this right? Bill Camp. This is on a different one. I don't know. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, can you imagine being Luke Richardson and being excited to like be the coach at Wrigley Field? It's not happening, buddy.
JK.
LOL. Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to see how the shakeup's going to work out for the rest of the season, especially with the Jets coming up. The Jets are doing shit right now. They suck.
Lost 4 in a row.
They are 3-7 in their last 10. So they went from like the hottest team in the NHL to quickly losing first place in our division.
Yeah, Minnesota is the top, right?
Yes. Jets won their most recent game, which might have been tonight. Actually, I think it was tonight against Buffalo.
Yeah, because I think they lost last night against Calgary, or their last game that they lost was Calgary. Don't fist bump you when you're freaking.
No, I was excited because I got it right from memory. They were playing Buffalo.
I thought fist bump because you saw something like fantasy stat wise, and I'm like, don't fucking do that when I'm playing you.
But so Winnipeg's kind of struggling, so that'd be nice if the Hawks can kind of come out hot in that game and see some more offense. And then they play the Rangers on Monday, who are also struggling. So I'm sure both of those teams are looking at this and being like, "Oh, this is our time to like get right, to get right games." It's like if we can just spoil that, that'd be great. And then,
then that's before then that we'll record.
Yeah,
before the next set of games, which there's a lot coming up. They're playing they're playing every other day
for the next like week and a half
until the Christmas break.
That's true. Yeah.
So they'll start the 12th and they'll have a game every other day up until Christmas Eve. Which I was going to talk to you. We should maybe think about doing maybe streaming that Minnesota game, live streaming it.
Oh, that'd be fun.
So
yeah, why not?
But all right, we already talked for almost 50 something minutes. Do you want to touch on anything else, or you just want to call this a firing episode?
They should have put Bedsy on the Four Nations, but whatever.
That's the real reason they're going to lose.
Yeah, I mean, it's the reason why Bedard is going to get 60 goals by the end of the season. He's turning it on. He's pissed off.
Yeah. But don't worry, he's still in consideration for 2026 Olympics, which is like the biggest no duh kind of statement.
Yeah. I wish they would have put Kaner on Team USA just to have him on the same line as Matthews, because that would just be disgusting. If they just like cross-eyes pass and Matthews just fucking one times it in, and then they both just put a hand to their ears facing each other. Be fucking
well, I guess too, we've talked about the Four Nations. We should mention congratulations to Teravainen for being the lone Blackhawk to make it.
You know, it'd be like interesting if somebody, like if there was like a replacement needed. It's kind of weird, but I could see like Soderblom possibly being a third on Sweden if like one of the goalies got hurt, because like I'm trying to think of like who would be like the fourth best.
I mean, he's having
right now.
I mean,
he's having a great year.
Yeah, and it's like realistically, what are the chances you're going to need that third goalie? You know, so they might give it to him, kind of thing.
Yeah, I know that like for Team USA, there was like talk of like Stolarz making it too, and I was like, oh damn, but he had a great game against the Hawks. It's just like, okay, I see it now.
So stupid, man. It was so stupid, but hey, I think Canada's gonna get their dicks kicked in.
Yeah, I think there is some questionable guys on the team, like Team USA and Team Canada, but I don't know. Also,
love to see Hagel making it.
Yes, absolutely. Well, the fact that like 3 Tampa players are on the forward lines for Canada, it's like, yeah, we get it, Cooper.
I was gonna say, isn't Cooper coaching?
Yeah, it's fucking silly, but that's why they left Stamkos off.
They didn't want any awkward tension.
Yeah, right.
So, all right, episode 299.
Bye, Luke.
Bye, Luke. Hope you find your job.
Luke, I am not your team.
Yeah. All right, make sure to follow us on your favorite podcast feed, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the big two. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, social media at WCB Podcast, and we will see you on the next one for big episode 300.
All right. Bye, boys. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the WCB Podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast. To connect with Jarom and Tanner, check out the boys at WCB Podcast on all social media. We'll see you next time.